The night air outside is still, the kind of stillness that feels almost heavy, pressing against the walls of your cabin like a secret it's too shy to share. The moon, nestled behind a veil of clouds, casts an eerie glow that slips through the windows, casting long shadows that dance across the wooden floor. You've been here for a few nights, seeking solitude away from the chaos of everyday life. The hum of the city feels like a fading memory, a faint echo you can't quite grasp anymore. Debbie, your partner, was supposed to be here with you. You can almost hear her laughter as she scrolled through her phone, light-hearted banter wrapping around you in the warmth of companionship. But she had to stay back, just for a few extra days, to wrap up that project at work. You'd both reasoned that a little time apart might help recharge your spirits. But as the dusk began to settle over the forest, that rationalization faded like the light. The gentle creaks of old wood is your only company. They seem to whisper stories of a time long past, tales of clashing storms that shook the very foundations of this place. You find solace in the rhythm, letting yourself be enveloped by the surrounding quietness, though an unsettling sensation tickles the back of your neck. You try to dismiss it, reminding yourself that isolation stirs the imagination, but the cabin's walls feel closer, more watchful than they should. As night deepens, you decide to explore a bit, to fill the empty space of the cabin with something more than creeping thoughts. You pull on a sweater, its familiar warmth a comfort, and step outside. The moon is obscured now, leaving the stars to provide scant illumination. Each step you take seems to reverberate through the air, an echo fading into the vastness surrounding you. The woods encroach closely, and for a moment you feel like a speck, mere dust swallowed by the enormity of the night. You wander a little ways down the gravel path, feeling your breath plume in the chilled air. The trees tower around you, their silhouettes skeletal against the blackened sky. It strikes you how alive the forest is. Sounds pulse around you. An unseen animal rustling in the underbrush, the low whistle of wind through branches, the occasional snap of a twig betraying a concealed presence. You pause, heart thudding in your chest, wondering if your imagination is tricking you again. You shake it off, forcing your footsteps to steady, pulling your gaze back to the narrow trail ahead. Further down the path, you come upon an old well. Its stones slick with an unidentifiable moss that glimmers faintly in the starlight. There's no bucket hanging from the rotted beam that barely remains above the well, but something glints from the dark hole below. Curiosity gnaws at you. You lean forward, squinting into its depths, feeling the pull of the unknown. "Hello?" you call into the well, your voice swallowed by the darkness. It feels more invasive than inviting, but you can't shake the thought of what might lie below. Just as you lean in a bit closer, the wind picks up, swirling around you with a sudden ferocity, and you stumble back. The sound of your heart pounding fills your ears. The skin prickles on your arms, every instinct screaming to turn back. Something about the well feels wrong. You choke on the certainty that it doesn't just lead to water. It beckons to secrets submerged deep within, darkness that shouldn't see the light of day. Swallowing hard, you tell yourself it's just an old well, remnants of a simpler time. Still unsettled, you decide it's time to head back inside. Each step feels heavier, as though the earth itself is reluctant to release you back to the safety of the cabin. When you finally trace your way back, the door creaks open beneath your touch, but instead of relief, a ripple of dread spirals through you. The stillness inside seems off, charged. The cabin feels more akin to a trap now, the walls too close, the air too thick. As you sit on the edge of the wooden chair, your heart begins its slow descent back to something resembling calmness. You reach for your phone, but there's no signal, the screen illuminating only static suggestions of missed messages of a world far away. You try to distract yourself with the mismatched collection of books lining the shelves, tales of humor, mystery, fantasy, but none can hold your attention. A noise pulls you back into awareness. It's barely a whisper, a breath of air escaping down the hall, barely more than a sigh. Your imagination races, slipping back into the realm of excuses. It must be the wind, you convince yourself. Yet that prickling sensation returns as you hear it again, quieter this time, more intimate. It feels unsettling, as if the very walls are breathing around you. You stand, feeling compelled to investigate, the slow crawl of dread inching its way up your spine. Room after room, you peer into the dim light that struggles to guide your way. The shadows are thick, pooling into corners, clinging to the very objects you once considered benign: the chipped vase on the mantel, the overstuffed chair draped in a faded quilt. But the source of that whisper is elusive. You find yourself hesitating before the door to the cellar, the little trapdoor you had previously dismissed as uninviting. What lies below is an untouched part of this cabin, an unturned chapter. You can't recall ever hearing it creak open since your arrival. An inexplicable force beckons your curiosity. You grip the worn latch and hesitantly lift the door. The stairs spiral downward into darkness, an abyss that feels almost sentient, waiting to swallow you whole. You take the first step down, then another, heart pounding louder than the creaking wood beneath your feet. A flashlight sits on a shelf near the bottom, gathering dust, and you flick it on, illuminating the cramped space. Unfamiliar shapes loom in the flickering light, the remnants of old furniture, trunks long forgotten, and an uncomfortable chill that whispers tales of abandonment. But as you brush your fingers against the rotting wood of an old trunk, something catches your attention. A folded piece of paper peeking out from underneath the dust. You pull it free, the crinkled texture sending shivers up your arms. As you unfold the paper, the writing is scrawled in a hasty hand, the words resonating with a desperate tone that sends chills through you. "Don't trust anyone," it reads. "They'll take your voice, consume your light." You glance around the cellar, feeling the air grow heavier, the sense of being watched pressing close. A panic wells up inside as your breathing becomes erratic. The last sentence reverberates against the thick silence. Beware the well. Fighting a rising tide of fear, you scan the dim corners, sure that something lurks just outside your line of sight. You turn to leave, but pause as a whimper echoes against the concrete. It unfurls, a soft, sad sound like a child lost in the dark. You almost turn back, almost call out, curiosity suddenly morphing into dread. The whisper that had brushed against your ear earlier returns, slithering through your mind like smoke. Stay, stay, and listen. Every instinct screams against the absurdity of it. You stagger toward the stairs, desperate to escape this gathering terror. You scramble back up, the light of the flashlight spilling out into the hallway like a lifebuoy tossed in turbulent seas. You slam the cellar door shut behind you, steeling yourself against it, heart hammering like a war drum in your chest. Moments pass, and then you hear it again. The whisper of the wood and silence that surrounds you seems to deepen. You need to find a phone signal. Panic beginning to erode your rational thoughts. You rush back to the main room, but all attempts to connect with the outside world are met with emptiness. Finding yourself at the window, you draw aside the tattered curtains, peering out into the gloom. The forest looms like a wall of secrets, branches clawing against the frame. And then you see it, a flash of movement creeping behind the trees, something lingering on the edge of visibility. You blink, and it's gone, like vapor lost in the night. A chill runs down your spine as the shadows lengthen, curling in on themselves. You need to leave, to run into the oblivion of the woods, anything but being left here alone with whatever hovers beyond your perception. But the door to the cabin bangs open suddenly, a gust of wind sweeping the darkness in like a flood. Panic rises anew as you turn to face the intruding chill. With trembling hands, you step back, inching toward the kitchen, your heart thrumming like a caged animal. Shadows spiral along the walls, taunting you with their movement, but there's nothing there, only the displacement of the air that feels almost alive. That's when you hear it again, a soft, muffled sound ensnared in the stillness, a voice layered beneath the whispers of the night. It's a voice you know, not Debbie's, but the hushed cadence of someone familiar, a memory flickering within your mind, half-formed and hesitant. Help me. It coils around you, enmeshing your thoughts, tugging at something deep and forgotten. You stagger, feeling something shift within your chest. The voice continues, neither pleading nor aggressive, simply repeating those words, soft yet demanding. Your feet move before your mind can catch up, drawn toward the darkness growing thicker, more inviting. The light within the cabin feels small, smothered by the pull of something ancient and heavy. Before you can comprehend your actions, you're stumbling outside, the air cool against your skin, breathless with terror and urgency, towards the well. The memory within your chest unfurls like paper blowing in the wind. You step closer, heart rushing in your ears, the stillness of the forest wrapping around you like a noose. The well stands before you, its depths an allure you cannot resist. Help me. Is it you who speaks, or is it the voice beckoning, twining around the questions clawing within your mind? The edges of your reality blur, fading into shadows that whisper promises too enticing to ignore. You lean over the stone's edge, the dark abyss below, waiting with an insatiable hunger, and you feel the edges of your sanity fraying further. The last thought you cling to is of Deb, of laughter spinning like threads between you, of warmth and light, and with it comes a realization, ominous and undeniable. You are losing yourself. The twilight envelops you, a dense fog of uncertainty, and there's nothing left to fight for, nothing left to draw you back except those words, whispering against your every instinct, "Help me." And then, darkness engulfs your vision as you tumble in, a soft sigh of surrender escaping your lips. The silence follows, profound as the earth envelops you, cradling you into its embrace. In those final moments, you find yourself lost among the echoes, a dark whisper lingering in the wind, teasing your memory with the taste of longing. The cabin sinks back into stillness. The whispers fade, merging back with the forgotten stories entwined in the shadows, carrying away the last fragments of light into the depths of the well. And somewhere, deep within the quiet countryside, the trees stand tall, shrouded in waiting, as they keep their secrets.